on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. We are back. We are live. It is 4 p.m. and it's time for some breaking news.
Breaking news.
This is deserved. This is legit. Oh my goodness me, there have been some that say you press it too often and it's not breaking news. Well, my goodness me, this is real breaking news because in the last 7 minutes, Manchester United have indeed confirmed the signing of Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna. The deal is done. It is official. It is announced. He is now a Manchester United player. He has put pen to paper. It is done. We've got the quotes. We've got the comments. We've got the details coming up in the next few minutes. So be sure to click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right hand corner, the first signing of the Ineos era is complete. The first of many, hopefully the first of many. Through the door is Joshua Zirkzee. If you're happy about this, let me know in the chat. I can see people filing in already. Louis says back-to-back videos. Hey, it's a busy day today. It's an exciting day. I'm hoping for more good breaking news as we go through the day. David Irvin says, love the breaking news tune. Who doesn't? Yeah, breaking news tune, absolutely. Leon says, what's the breaking news? You can see it right there. Manchester United's first signing of the summer is indeed done. Joshua Zirkzee has signed for Manchester United. Let's get into the quotes. As I mentioned, Manchester United announcing this in just the last couple of minutes. You can see him right there. Look at that. In all of his glory, he is in the Manchester United red, the brand new home kit, snapdragon across the front. Joshua Zirkzee signs for Manchester United. The Manchester United statement released in the last couple of minutes says, Manchester United is pleased to confirm that Joshua Zirkzee has joined the club, subject to registration. The Dutch forward has signed a contract until June 2029 with the option to extend it for a further year. Confirming the reports, indeed, it's a 5-year contract plus that additional option for 1 more year if Manchester United wish to use it. It continues the statement by saying Zirkzee, the 2023/2024 Serie A Under-23 Player of the Year, was Bologna's top goal scorer last season, helping his team to qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Yes, a reminder that we have signed Bologna's top goal scorer, but actually maybe more impressively, the young player of the year from Serie A for 42.5 million euros, just around 35 million pounds, and we're paying it over 3 years. Pretty good business by Manchester United. It continues by saying the 23-year-old Netherlands international earlier won 6 trophies during his time with Bayern Munich. We've got some quotes from Zirkzee himself. He says, or the statement says, upon signing, Zirkzee said, having had discussions with the manager and the leaders of the club, I know how exciting the future is going to be here, and I cannot wait to play my part in achieving success for Manchester United. Critically there, you notice he says the manager and the leaders of the club, those people we've spoken about so often, Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, etc., all very important in this deal. Continues by saying, I am a player who has always dedicated everything to winning. I'm ready for this next challenge to go to another level in my career and win more trophies. It is a privilege to join such an iconic club. I have to take a short break now after being with the national team, but I'll be coming back ready to make an impact straight away. Again, the importance of getting this deal done now so that he can go and have his holiday for a couple of weeks. He can come back and can be part of the preseason tour of the United States, and he can hit the ground running. Hopefully with some new teammates, not apart from the ones he's got already, but some new signings too. We'll talk about that later on. The statement continues with Dan Ashworth. Interestingly, Dan Ashworth is in this statement. Erik ten Hag is not, which I think probably, again, says quite a lot when it comes to again, how things are maybe going to work when it comes to these transfer signings. I'm sure we'll get some quotes eventually from Erik ten Hag. But Dan Ashworth says, who is the Manchester United sporting director, securing a forward to enhance our already strong group of attacking players was a key aim for this summer. We are delighted that we've managed to sign a player of Joshua's caliber this early in the transfer window. Notice he says they're this early in the window, suggesting still plenty of time, still plenty more deals to do. Joshua is an outstanding talent who is ready to make an impact for Manchester United. His ability and desire to grow into a world-class player means that he will be a great addition to the squad that we are building for the exciting season ahead and beyond. Ashworth finalised by saying, having already achieved a significant amount in his career, we will provide Joshua with the perfect platform to reach the next level under the guidance and support of Erik ten Hag and the coaching staff. We look forward to seeing Joshua thrive at Old Trafford over the coming years. So really actually sort of the language used there by Dan Ashworth I think is really interesting. Kind of laying out the table, saying look, he's a very good player, he's already achieved a lot, he's already done quite a lot in his young career, but there's still steps to go. He is a young player, he is going to be developing, hopefully he's going to get better, and Manchester United are going to do everything they possibly can to provide that platform to make him better with the coach, with the coaching staff, with the culture that is being implemented by Ineos at Manchester United, and it's very exciting indeed. We've got a super chat already here from Ivor Clips, who says, appreciate the contribution, says, here we go. I think here we go was a while ago, wasn't it, Ivor? Yes, we're signed, sealed, and delivered. Stevie Wonder settings, okay? We don't have to worry about it at all. The focus now already turns into who the next signing is going to be, who the next here we go is going to be, and Manchester United hopefully will have multiple deals done or in place by the time the pre-season tour begins in the United States. It's quite strange, these kind of videos, isn't it? And the reason I say it's quite strange is because we talk about it so much. We talk about the player so much. We talk about the deal so much that by the time it actually gets done and completed, you feel like you've spoken about it to death, really, don't you? So there's not much more to say. But on closing of the deal, I think that it's a really shrewd bit of business by Manchester United. I'm quite encouraged by this signing. I'm happy with the speed of it. I'm really happy with the finances of it. Obviously, there was a bit of concern about, commissions, agent fees. I think his agent here has pulled a bit of a blinder and has been very well compensated for getting this deal done. But as was previously reported, Manchester United felt that the sort of higher side of the agent commissions in this transfer was actually quite good value for money, because they were getting a player which they believe, and I hope really is the case, getting a player that's well under market value because of his release clause. I mean, you have to look at the business we did last year, getting Rasmus Højlund from Atalanta, a Serie A club. Similar situation here to Joshua Zirkzee, a young striker from Serie A, not scored a ton of goals in Serie A, but have scored goals, but certainly on the way up. And we overspent. We hoped that we were going to get him for like 40 million euros, a similar price to what we've got Zirkzee for. And we ended up paying, 60 million quid, maybe even 70 million quid, a lot of money. So that was probably overpaying. Probably the actually real market value was probably in between this fee we've paid here for Zirkzee and between the Rasmus Højlund fee. But what we have done is not only agreed to pay a little bit more than the release clause, 40 million euros, only 2.5 million euro extra, and agreed to pay it over 3 years. So we've still got room to maneuver. We've still got funds and finances to go out and do business in the transfer window that we're actively doing right now. I mean, we're in deep negotiations with Bayern Munich for Matthijs de Ligt. A contract has been agreed. We're hoping, Florian Plettenberg said today, that Lenny Oro is going to make his decision soon. It's up in the air. I still wouldn't say we're favourites to get him in comparison to Real Madrid, but we're in the race. There have been links to Ivan Toney. There have been links to Ugarte, and it's not like the whole, Manchester United are linked to every single player. You've kind of noticed this summer, maybe that hasn't really happened as much just yet. Of every single day a different player. It's the players we've been linked to seem to be pretty concrete and pretty legitimate. We were interested in Jared Brantwaite. That deal's now dead because Everton aren't going to sell for less than 70 million. Man United ain't going to pay 70 million. And just the way that Manchester United are moving in this transfer market, the speed of which they're getting these deals done, the finances involved. I mean, we don't have details just yet in terms of the wages, because that is I really, really hope that we haven't super inflated his contract. But still, I think it's a really encouraging signing for Manchester United. We've now got 2 strikers, both young, both developing. Is there a bit of concern about experience and goals at the top level? Yeah, there is. But we're also being linked to Ivan Toney. I don't know if we're going to get him, but I look at Joshua Zirkzee, and from what I've seen of him, I haven't seen a lot. We'll play the Kevin Hatchard clip once again in a second, because I think it's worth pointing out when we talk about players that we haven't watched every single week. He's not he's not a traditional number 9. It's an interesting one because he looks like he's got all the physical qualities of a traditional number 9. Tall, strong, not overly quick, but you would look at him and go, "I tell you what, that he looks the part in that respect." But from what I have seen and heard of and read up about, he's more of the sort of, I say Roberto Firmino number 9, but that kind of plays. It's a striker, but can play, drops quite deep, plays at the 10, drifts out wide, links up the play really well, can press from the front, can get people involved in the game. And that to me is exciting because he's in that regard different to Rasmus Højlund. Yes, he shares some quality similarly maybe in terms of the age profile and in terms of the development profile. But in terms of the actual style of play, the type of player he is, I think that we need different options. I think we need options of players that can grow, that players we can rely on, and players that are different. We saw the success that Manchester United had towards the end of last season, playing a bit of a different system, playing with a false 9 or a couple of false 9s. I'm not saying that Zirkzee is exactly that, but again, a different profile of player gives Manchester United a bit of a just little tactical tweak that they can play, and certainly it eases the burden on Rasmus Højlund that he had last season, which is we look to you and go, right, you're the only striker we've got. Can you go score like 25 goals for us this season? And that expectation will crumble him because he's not there yet. Will he get there in the future? Don't know. But he certainly needs support. And this is just that. Is Zirkzee going to be the starting striker ahead of him? Is it going to be him coming off the bench? I'm one of those people, you know me, that I say it's a squad game. I think we've put too much stress on whenever we sign a player, or what does this mean for that? What does that mean for that player? Or this player, he's not going to be happy sitting on the bench. You look at any top team in the Premier League or across Europe, it is a squad game. We've spoken so much about just the sheer volume of games that players have to play nowadays, the intensity of a football match across 90 minutes every single week, sometimes twice, 3 times in the space of 7 days. It is a squad game. Not every player, unless you're a goalkeeper, is going to start every single game. You need to have a squad of 25 players, the majority of which are pretty damn good and or developing into something that's good. In the case of Zirkzee, and quite a few players in this squad. So again, very encouraged by this signing. I'm excited by the finances involved. I'm excited by the speed of which Manchester United have done this deal. And now it's no resting on your laurels. It's right, this one's done. Let's get the other ones. Let's get the other ones over the line. Not that we shouldn't appreciate the business that has been done. We were in a race to sign him with AC Milan. Became very apparent a week or so ago, didn't it? Or 10 days ago, that we'd won this race. We were going to get the player. And now we turn to, let's get some centre-backs in. Let's have a look at the midfield. Possibly even another striker, because Manchester United have business to do. And of course, the transfer window is not solely based on incomings. It's also based on outgoings. We know that Mason Greenwood obviously looks like he's going to be going to Marseille, possibly Lazio. There's obviously a lot of drama involved in that deal. We know that Willy Campoala, I think he's completed his medical at Villarreal today. Pure profit from an FFP perspective. That will go back into transfer deals. So this is why these people were brought in. Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Christopher Vival, they were all brought in to do these deals, to do them quickly, to do them effectively, and hopefully, this was the beginning stages of the beginning stages of that. John James says AC Milan, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea were all interested, Owen. Well, certainly we know AC Milan definitely were. As far as those other ones, look, this is again when you have to be careful with transfers, because lots of clubs are interested in lots of players, and I'm sure that there might have been calls to the agents of Joshua Zirkzee from a lot of clubs across Europe, because he was a young talented player with a release clause. Certainly it was Manchester United and AC Milan that were not the choice, but those were the two that were right there for it. AC Milan had a deal. I think agreed with the player or something like that, didn't they? Just didn't have the agents' commissions done. But we won the race, and without, I think, drastically overpaying, with getting the finances right. How often can we say that? Now, again, this isn't. You've got to believe in Ineos, blind faith. You can never criticise them or anything like that. They're one bad deal away from being criticised, and rightfully so, because football is a what have you done for me lately kind of business. But I think it's an encouraging start, a really good start from Ineos and all those involved. And Now we move on to the next one. I think in today's day and age, in this market, to sign a player for, 36 million quid, and also not have to pay all of it up front, not have to do the release clause all up front, spread it over 3 years, I think is a really encouraging start for Manchester United, a really encouraging move by Ineos. And I think that, as I said, I think that more signings are coming, and I think more here we goes are coming very soon. So I'm really I'm thrilled with it. I really am. If you haven't already, click the like button. By the way, guys, be sure to subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts about the signing in the chat. I'll get your comments up on the screen. Such as Proper Palmeiras says, £12 million a year for 3 years is a good deal, to be honest. Well, I think also it must be stressed that a lot of transfers are set up like this. You know, this isn't an outlier. Maybe not Manchester United, but a lot of deals are set up like this. But in the past, we would have just paid the release clause. We'd have just gone, right, we can't negotiate, we're rubbish at it. It is to pay the release clause, done. That's what we'll do. But now, by having those football experts in, we've been able to maneuver and negotiate and get ourselves a more favourable deal. That's what we've been able to do there. Because again, a lot of transfers are set up this way, where it's spread across amortization, you know, spread across 5 years or anything like that. But the fact that Manchester United have been able to go into that negotiating process and convince Bologna to accept it, because look, Bologna obviously they get more money eventually, but they could have been really, you know, stubborn with it. No, not going to pay the release clause up front, not going to listen to you. That's not what we're going to do. But Manchester United have been able to negotiate a deal that works for all parties. And this doesn't mean that Manchester United are back or anything like that. Let's not get carried away. But it's certainly, I think, really encouraging. Really, really encouraging. John James says Zirkzee and Mainu are going to cook. Set Off Sound says good deal, but centre-backs now, please and thanks. Wow, people saying here in the chat. Nico says £36.54 million. Sounds a lot better. Kristen says getting £8 million for Camboila as well. Yep, that deal looks to be done. Well, he's having his medical, so that announcement's going to be coming pretty much any time, I would think, soon. So then you're already looking at, if you're getting, I mean, the price for Greenwood's been quite disputed at this point, but you're looking at maybe like 25 million quid plus add-ons, plus a salon clause. But already Manchester United have raised about over £30 million. If those deals go through, about £30 million in the transfer market, completely pure profit, which nearly pays for this deal completely. Not bad going. So already then you're looking at the other signings and going, right, we've got money to play around with. We can maybe do an extra deal that you know, and then as Proper Paris says, not including the wages saved by the departures of, you know, Martial, Varane, Donny van der Beek. You know, that in itself has saved you. What, Varane was about 340. Martial was 250, so you're already at what's that, nearly 600, you know, plus the Donny stuff. You're already over that, like 700k a week. Mad. It's encouraging business by Manchester United, indeed. I know we've played this a lot, but I think it's important now we've actually signed the player as to what we can expect, what we're looking at when it comes to Joshua Zirkzee. Here is definitely Kevin Hatchard. Definitely Kevin Hatchard for what Manchester United fans can expect when it comes to Joshua Zirkzee.
Look, he's a really interesting player, right? There are not many players like him in the sense that he's quite a tall guy. He's fairly quick. I think he's 6'3". But he's not mega good in the air. He's not that classic centre forward that you might think, that he's kind of, you want to pump in a load of crosses and he's gonna win them like a full Krug, somebody like that. He's not really like that. He's a guy that loves to take people on, loves to glide past them, wants to drop in, wants to link play. If you look at his stats in terms of like his passing ability, very, very good. You know, he's got plenty of assists this season for Bologna. And he was kind of perfect for what Thiago Motta wanted to do with Bologna, which was to have that presence in attack, but also somebody who was really good at all the link-up play and could make it stick and kind of let the other players, like Lewis Ferguson, before he got injured, they had a really good click, getting forward from midfield. So he is unusual in that way. He can run in behind, but he won't always run in behind. Rasmus Højlund, for example, is more that guy that will be trying to constantly,
good runs, we just don't find him.
Runs. Yeah, exactly. But look, Josh is really, really good. But what we don't know if he can do yet, hand on heart, is we don't know if he can score 20, 25 goals a season because he's never done it. The one thing I would say is that I remember when he first broke through as a teenager at Bayern, and I think he definitely scored in his debut, and I think he might have got the winner the following game. He might even.
I saw a thing where he said he scored three. He scored 3 goals off his first 3 shots. I saw a stat of
He got
a few goals really quickly. I saw that.
He definitely got a winner against Freiburg in his second game. I remember that because I think I did the game. And the first game, I think he might have got the winner in the first game as well. But he burst onto the scene and was doing really, really well. But it's Bayern, right? So they've got tons and tons of quality. He went to Parma. You wondered, is he really going to get to where we hoped he would get to? But then he went to Anderlecht and he scored a lot of goals in Belgium. Again, then you're thinking, well, is that the level? That's a good gateway, but is it the level? And then he goes to Bologna and works with Thiago Motta. And Motta's done a really good job and has now left. But it has done a really good job with him. So I'll be really interested to see what happens. I can see why United would look at him because he's different to what they have. And I think you need that sometimes. He and Højlund could play as a 2. I could see that. But I could equally see him playing as that lone front man, dropping in and kind of getting wider players involved. So, he's not the finished article. He's not a slam dunk, but I think he's a really interesting player.
A really interesting player. Big up Paco in the chat says, this clip is annoying at this point. I'm apologise if it is annoying, Paco, but the thing is, there might be new viewers here right now that have never seen that clip, but know nothing about Joshua Zirkzee. There might be people right now that are just like Man United fans going, Joshua Zirkzee, we signed him. Type it in on YouTube, see if we can find something out. Kevin Hatchard can provide much better information than I, since he's commentated on a lot of his games. So, it's not just about one people, it's about everyone. Yeah, it's about trying to give everyone the most accurate, best information we possibly can about the new player that we signed. So, it's one of those kind of situations. And to be honest, it's interesting too. This idea that Kevin Hatchard speaks about it there, sort of saying that not the finished article, developing player. Dan Ashworth alludes to that in his comments in the statement there too. But let's not pretend that he doesn't score goals. Let's not pretend that he's not, a really exciting player, because as Manchester United mentioned there, I mean, we've not signed like a scrub here. I mean, this is a guy that he was Serie A under-23 player of the year. I mean, he's the young player of the year, effectively, in Serie A last season. He was also Bologna's top goal scorer. So, whilst it wasn't, to Kevin Hatchard's point, 20, 25 goals or anything like that, he was still the top goal scorer for a team that qualified for the Champions League in Serie A that we've signed for 34, 35 million pounds. I mean, in terms of market value, you're not going to do much better. If you went to a lot of the top leagues across Europe and say, right, who's the young player of the year? Which teams qualify for the Champions League? We'll take your top goal scorer. They'd be charging you a ridiculous amount of money for that. They'd be going, all right, 60 million maybe. Let's go a little bit higher. So to sign someone that had a great season last season, that, he had a bit of a rocky road back up to the top, because earlier on in his career, he was one of those players that was kind of earmarked to be a big deal. I mean, if you played like Football Manager, you always saw Joshua Zirkzee around Bayern Munich or what have you. And didn't really work out there. Had a couple of moves elsewhere. Parma, Anderlecht, ended up at Bologna in a really successful team that's just being picked apart now, isn't it? Because they had a successful season. It's how it goes. To sign him for, 30 odd million quid, again, in terms of market value, you'd struggle to do much better than that. I mean, you just wouldn't. You just wouldn't. That wouldn't be the case. So it's not to say that he's this time he's going to boom. He's going to hit the ground running. He's going to be all that. Like a lot of young players, it's going to be a bit up and down. It's going to be a bit up and down. There's going to be periods going inside and outside of form. But I think in terms of value for money, I think Manchester United have really pulled off a really exciting and promising signing here, and I think that's good business, really good business by Manchester United. What else are people saying here in the chat at the moment? Believe says, I watched the whole interview, and so I get irritated each time you play the clip. Well, as I mentioned, there are people that haven't watched the interview or haven't seen the clip or might be new to the channel the first time. So, you can welcome, piss off, basically, to new viewers. If you haven't watched it, get out. What else are people saying here at the moment? John James says, talking about having an all-rounder up front too. Skiliana says amortization is a smart structure, but too many deals like that can impact our future spending as our contractual costs in future summers increase. Need to use it carefully. What else are people saying here at the moment? Imran says, if this doesn't turn out, Tony was right there. Who's to say we don't get Ivan Toney? I mean, this is also the thing too, that I think we have to collectively as fans almost refocus our perception on how Manchester United are going to act this summer, because we're judging a lot of things based off the past, which of course is only natural to do. What else can you judge it upon? But when it comes to Ineos, the sample size of what's to judge them on shouldn't be necessarily transfer windows of last year or over the last decade, because they weren't here. We don't know how they're going to operate. From what we've seen thus far for this deal and how they brought in Omar Barada, how they brought in Dan Ashworth, how they brought in Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vivell, and they've ruthlessly got people out of the club and brought people in, that to me suggests that this idea of how we operated in the past is completely different to how we operated in the past. So this idea of we've got Zirkzee, so we're not getting any other striker, I don't think we can rule out anything at this point. Look at the centre-backs. We thought we went in for Jared Brantwaite, we're just going to get one centre-back and it's going to be him this summer. It looks like we could get two centre-backs. With the midfielders, we've been linked to Ogate. It could be someone else. I think when it comes to those kind of hypotheticals of this means we're not going to get any other player in this position, I don't think that's necessarily the case here. And in terms of this Zirkzee deal, it's quick to do, again, cost effective. There's a lot of room for growth there too. And when it comes to Ivan Toney, we'll see how that pans out for him. We will, but I think the idea of we got Zirkzee, so we're definitely not going to be getting another, forward or striker or anything like that. I don't think is the case at all. And I think that I've said this so often recently, and I will stick by this because I believe it to be true to my core. We have no idea as a fan base what we actually want, because we ask for stuff, we get it, and then we don't like it all the time. When it comes to strikers, as someone mentions in the chat there, I grew up on Manchester United having like 4 or 5 strikers under contract at any one time. So even 2 seems light to me. So the idea that we couldn't bring in more, I think, is farcical. And 2, we've been asking for deals like this. Let's do deals where we get in bright young players across Europe. Let's develop them. Room to grow. Room to develop. We can't be going for established superstars or megastars. That's not worked out for us before. We need to be going young. We buy young players. What about experience? We need to. We need that experience one right now too. We missed out on these people too. We've got to be careful looking at what others have got versus what we've actually got too. So I don't think you can rule out getting another striker. I think that when it comes to the transfer strategy by Ineos, I think everything is firmly on the table. Because I think they're looking at everything too. They're looking at everything, and how Manchester United operated in the past in the transfer window, that is a thing of the past. How Manchester United viewed squad building, I think that is a thing of the past too. Because you've got different people in there with different ideas and certainly different motives. The motive previously at Manchester United was to make money. The motive now is to win. And if you really want to win, then you go, right, we need more options. We need more strikers. You know, that's what we need. So I get it, you know, judging how things are going to operate based on the past. But I would be cautious with that because we've already seen Manchester United already is, maybe not on the pitch, we haven't seen right now, but behind the scenes, it is radically different. I mean, radically different already in terms of how they operated 6 months ago, or people that are in charge. So we shall see indeed how they operate moving forward. But I'm very encouraged, definitely. Starlord says if we get Zirkzee, Ugarte, I'm happy. SLD says, I bet Owen is definitely faster than KG. I tell you what, nowadays, I don't know. I think me and KG would both be in a spot of bother if we had to have a race. My goodness, that would be that would be crazy. Joel London says Zirkzee seems to operate in a role that none of our other players do, so should really improve our overall play. What else we got here? Some people are saying he's like Berbatov. Well, we shall see. Joe Blackman says we want more. Imran says we need multiple defenders and midfielders. Unless the budget is budgeting, that's a lot of work. But again, I think I've said this a lot too. I think look how the media are covering Manchester United at the moment. A lot of people don't know a lot. There are cards being kept right here, firmly close to the chest, vest, whatever you want to say. No one, I think, knows the budget. Manchester United are moving players on, and I think no one truly knows Manchester United's intentions in this transfer market too. There is a lot of guesswork going on right now. Not internally at Manchester United. I think they're very clinical and calculated who they want and which players they're targeting and looking for. But if you've noticed, when it comes to these players that we have been linked with, suddenly it just comes out Manchester United are interested in this player, and they've, like, next day they've agreed a contract with the player, or they're in talks with the club. Like, it's that fast. So I think when it comes to the budget and the players that we've targeted, I still think people don't actually know, and there's a lot of guesswork, and they're keeping things really close. I wouldn't be shocked if they've had talks with people that we don't know about at this point too. And once again, that whole thing of, that's a lot of work about bringing people in and moving them on, that's once again, I think, judging it based off how Manchester United would have operated in the past. If last year, if you'd said, well, to get this amount of players in and move these players out, it's just not going to happen, I'd have gone, absolutely. We've seen them operate. We haven't seen these guys operate. We haven't. We just haven't seen. We haven't seen how they're going to operate. We've got a small sample size of bringing in the executives that they brought in and doing this deal. But I think the narrative of we can't move players on, or we can't do multiple deals at the same time, that idea of doing multiple deals at the same time, that myth's already been smashed already, hasn't it? It literally already has. We're working on multiple deals at once at the moment. So, who's to say they can't do it? I'm not going to get every single target. We're not going to get every single position in this transfer window. That's going to take time. We have to be realistic. But I think certainly the ambition is there. The ambition is there to do these kind of deals. The ambition is there to do them quickly. The ambition is to start the season fast versus the last few years. Well, however many years, where it's like you get to the first day of the season, we're not ready, not only in terms of the play style and players being undercooked and not available, but signings through the door. It's a bit difficult this summer because obviously international tournaments, Olympics, and what have you. But it's encouraging. It's really encouraging. So I'm really excited. Really excited by this transfer indeed. So there you go. Joshua Zirkzee is officially a Manchester United player. Now goes on holiday, of course, after being involved in the Euros. This was another thing, by the way, actually. This was another thing. Talk about, again, a player that not only was a young player, under 23 player in Serie A last season, not only was he the top goal scorer for Bologna last season when they qualified for the Champions League, but did you know he actually made his Netherlands senior debut at the European Championships. Those appearances we saw him, when we saw him come on, they were his first caps for his country. So it wasn't as if he had played for the Netherlands prior in qualifying or anything like that. He was a late call-up because of injuries, and they were his first actual caps for his country when he came on. So even at an international level, there's a feeling of, we've got to invest in this guy. This guy's going to do things for us in the future. I didn't know that. I thought that maybe he'd had a couple of appearances, maybe done a couple of friendlies or something like that. But no, he was a select. I think there's a couple of select players. I think Cody Gakpo is one of them as well. Not at this Euros. I think it was in the last Euros or something, whatever it was. That they made their international debut at the tournament. So yeah, it's unbelievable. So there you go. Appreciate everyone tuning in for some breaking news. If you haven't already, click the like button. Rob won't be happy with that. He says, get the effing poll off. It's desperate. Can you do me a favor, mate? Can you just turn that light off? Don't be so bloody desperate. If the light goes off, it goes off. If it doesn't go off, it doesn't go off. Okay? Don't ask me. I'll make my own mind up if that's what I want to do. Okay? You go, all right. I'll sit in the dark. Sorry. Oh, my goodness me. They're very angry people out. Isn't it? Anyway, breathe. It's all positivity today. England are playing in the finals. We've just signed a new Manchester United player. It's all good. Believe, guys, believe. I'm going to be back in a few hours to cover the England-Spain game. And hopefully, we can have... Paul's going to be on for that fucking game as well. I'll tell you that now. Yeah? So, yeah, hopefully, I'm in a good mood. This is good. We signed players. England are playing today. It's cool. So yeah, I'll see you all guys later on. I think you might be redirected to the stream for later on. Oh, and also, not only 9 a.m. tomorrow, Transfer View, as always, but Manchester United play tomorrow. First game of pre-season. Rosenborg in Norway. I will be live for that too. Kickoffs at 5. I'll be live at about 4. We'll be chatting about transfer news, team news, stuff about the pre-season as well. And we'll be having a lot of fun with that. Hopefully, seeing Manchester United win. There's going to be some big players involved too. The travelling list went out today. Obviously, Harry Maguire's, Casemiro, Marcus Rashford, Ahmad, Anthony, Wan-Bissaka. So some senior players all going to be involved tomorrow. So going to be exciting. And plus with the young players, Harry Armas is involved in that too. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that one tomorrow. Pre-season begins just as the international tournament ends. Perfect. So there you go. Be sure to smash a like if you want. And subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And I'll be back later on. I'm out of here. Peace.